Barbie in a Christmas Carol is an animated film directed by William Lau and produced by Mattel Entertainment together with Remaker Entertainment. It was released in November from the year 2008 and it is based on Charles Dickens' 1843 novel called A Christmas Carol. For the people who doesn't know, let's say there is three phases of the Barbie movies. The first one, they were all princess and magical creatures and they were adventures and they were adaptations of pre-existent tales. They already exist and they were just adapted to Barbie and their world. They were mostly not in a modern stage, different to the second phase because it was Barbie in her old splendor with sometimes she acted like a Barbie and sometimes she was actress Barbie who interpreted other characters. She had an iPhone, she had a tablet, she had a computer. She was a normal teenager sometimes. I can talk about the third phase because I didn't watch that one. Getting back to 2008, these movies were based on old stories, but the first three had also the particularity that they were told by Barbie. What does it mean? Well, this is Barbie, and Barbie is an actress. That's something that you have to remember. She has a little sister called Kelly that now doesn't exist, or she changed her name to Chelsea. I don't know, but she disappeared. Well, this kid, as well as Chelsea, was annoying, but at least her voice wasn't as much. Still, she was always talking about every little thing that happened to her, and their Barbie, together with her cold patience, had to sit down on the floor and narrate a whole story for Kelly to understand that she was a drama queen. In the first movie, she narrates the story of the Nutcracker. In the second, it is Rapunzel. By the way, am I the only one feeling like in a fairy tale every time this music plays? And the third one is Barbie of Swan Lake. Of course, she gave herself the main role in the tree. After that, Barbie and annoying Kelly disappeared for a while, leaving Barbie interpreting movies but without Barbie narrating them. It looks like Kelly understood some lessons for some time, but before the second era finished, they appeared once again and it was in Barbie in a Christmas Carol. Oh my god, I love this intro. It really sucks to don't know the English lyrics. Barbie enters the room looking for her sister. They were at a Christmas ball and Barbie was bothered by the absence of her little sister. Surprisingly for Barbie, Kelly doesn't want to go to the ball.
I want to stay home and make cookies and drink cocoa.
Well, this is me the 365 days of the year.
It's Christmas. I hate Christmas.
Not their bitch. Barbie realized that there's no other option to apply her techniques on Kelly with a snowball in her hands. Yeah, seems like Barbie has a story for every tantrum Kelly comes with. Is that Antonio? Man, you got married last year and you're attending another woman's presentation? She tells the story of Eden Starling, an opera singer who basically plays the girl of being beautiful and nice with the public, but in real life, she was hateful and incredible full of herself. To add, Eden hated Christmas.
I hate Christmas.
Eden is owner of the Gall Hills Theatre in Victoria, London, as it is shown in the first clip. Aside from her, there are other employees in the show, such as these two ladies and this clown, who aren't very important to the plot, so I am not going to say their names. There is also Freddie, who comes to be the romantic interest of Catherine, the costume designer. That night, they were happily celebrating and sharing what they will do for the Christmas holiday when Eden comes into the place in a horrible mood, which was very casual for all of them.
It's pooling, Catherine.
Oh man, I really love Eden's voice in English. She has this British accent. Actually, they all have it, but for me, it is more noticeable in her. In the Spanish version, she just had like a more high-pitched voice than the rest. But actually, their voices are pretty similar. The main problem of the movie, or what makes the main problem of the movie came out, is the fact that Eden makes the employees know that there wouldn't be holiday for them because she needs them to work there during those days. And that was something they weren't aware of. Eden states that they can do whatever they want. If they want to leave, then they have the freedom to do so, but they wouldn't be able to come back to work there ever.
Ever.
The employees are alarmed. They want to go to their homes for holidays as it is planned, but they can lose their job either. That's when Freddie tells Catherine that she's the only one who can convince her as they are friends. Well, friends. Catherine and Eden were childhood friends and they share a lot of memories together, but actually, in the present time, Eden treats Catherine just 5% better than the rest of the population. But Eden doesn't really care about what Catherine says. She even emphasized how thankful Catherine should be with her for giving her the job when she could give it to anyone else. But Eden could only choose and care about herself. And she shows it by reciting the words that her old Aunt Mary used to tell her.
In a selfish world, the selfish succeed.
Catherine asked if she really heard what her old Aunt Mary used to say, to which Eden responded by saying that she was brilliant, that she had all the truth and that without her they wouldn't be there. Threatening Catherine with taking her job seriously, stop doing useless things and focusing in more important things. Until now, the most savage Barbie ever.
You usually tell me stories about nice girls. Well, that's true. Eden's someone who's making a lot of mistakes. But sometimes we can learn from people who make mistakes.
However, everything will change that night when in the middle of her sleep, Eden woke up because of a sudden noise and movement. It was her Aunt Marie who appears in ghost mode with chains around her body. That when I was a kid, I used to compare to the villain of Spider-Man 2. But when Eden wakes up, she doesn't seem to be very surprised or afraid even when the woman is floating in the room. Just like she will know that she was having a dream and that was not actually happening. Or she's just crazy because she even switches to Mary to take off the chains. Like, are we at word that she's talking to a ghost, right? But then it's the woman herself who tells her that she can take them out as they are chains that she formed during her life.
Chains of selfishness. But you always said selfishness is good. In a selfish world, the selfish succeed.
Eden says proudly, but differently from what she thought, her aunt chastised her for having learned so well from her. With a poor crying, Aunt Mary regrets all the damage she made to Eden. She created the worst version of herself just because she was angry for can't be what she wanted. Mary wanted to be a famous opera singer just like Eden was now. And she comes from B1 to make her change into one night so she doesn't become what she is now. And for that to happen, she tells her that she will send 3 spirits that night. And luckily, if she's lucky enough, they will allow her to change her life. Of course, Eden gives a fuck and came back to sleep. But it's just a few moments later when she's woken up again. This time by one of the spirits that her old aunt told her about. The spirit of Christmas past. Eden doesn't understand what is going on. She just thinks she's living another nightmare, but then the spirit, who in this version doesn't have a high pitched voice like the one that I remember, draws her to a magical tunnel, which also will include it. I don't know you, but when I was a kid, I wanted so badly to go through this tunnel. Like, I didn't want this whole adventure. I was okay, I was being a kind kid, but I wanted to go through the tunnel. They land in an old and empty house with dark walls and floors. That's what makes the spirit being confused and think that she made a mistake because they were supposed to be in Eden's past Christmas. However, the house was free of decor, tree, and overall Christmas spirit. And it was then when Eden confirms that it, in there, was her past Christmas.
Oh, you poor thing.
In the past, Eden used to spend her whole time training in her singing. She wanted to go to Catherine's house and spend Christmas with her and her family, but her aunt wouldn't allow her to do other things that wouldn't be practicing in her singing. She was making Eden work even on Christmas, convincing her that otherwise she wouldn't succeed in her life. And well, Eden was doing just the same in the present. After all, we live with what is tough to us. But not everything is lost, as Eden from the past decides to break the rules and sneaks out of her house to go to Catherine's. Mean Eden together with the spirit, follow her behind, and we can see the way Eden looks at the place with love and nostalgia.
This was my favorite place in the world. I remember.
The way they cut out her inspirational moments. Younger Eden was very well welcomed by Catherine and her family, who, by the way, looked very well placed. I mean, look at the tree, look at the outfits. I don't want to say in a materialistic way, but it was how genuine they were and how much they care about her, and how they were making sure that she has a good time, like if she will be another family member of them. Catherine gives her the gift that she prepared, and guess what it was? The snowball. Yeah. Now is when we wonder, what is Barbie doing with the same object? My only theory is that this story she's telling would be pretty famous and the snowball is sold everywhere, like if it will be a classic. This scene where they sing in Catherine's house and dance together gave me a lot of flashbacks to the Christmas of my childhood. I remember obligating my sister to do this kind of show for my family, and how embarrassing. I hope I didn't take out the idea from here. Is that Prince Carlos' father? Grown-up Eden sees everything from a corner with a nostalgic expression. The spirit asks her why she hated Christmas when they were so awesome for her, but suddenly Eden wants to go. She desperately wants to leave the memories where they were in, because she remembered what happened later. But for the moment that she voiced out that thought, her Aunt Mary enters the house, furious with Eden. The spirit understands that that was not a good memory, not something that she wanted to witness again, and immediately proceeds to get them back. Already in her room, Eden tells her how that night her aunt started to yell in Catherine's house and how she made a whole scandal, leaving her very embarrassed. And I believe that she had a possible trauma with this, especially for the way that she remembers the exact because she remembers exactly the moment where it happened, even after all those years. It means that it was a memory that she could never forget. The spirit sympathizes with her, but this didn't go well with her. She hated the look in the spirit's face, and the actual Eden comes back, kicking out the spirit of her room. It was 1 a.m. when the second spirit appeared, the spirit of the present Christmas, who made her appearance with music and with trumpets. Why is everyone so loud in this movie? Anyway, she brings Eden to the present Christmas, which means her present time. A little bit of hope grows in Eden as she sees how all her employees were happy while working. She wants to convince herself she made the right decisions. But this feeling is fastly dismissed as they begin to throw tomatoes at her face. Eden thinks that Catherine will be the one to stop them, but she doesn't. Instead, she throws one to her face. The spirit takes her out of the place and they step into the street. There is where Catherine appears once again with another woman who must be a friend, although she looks a little bit older. She says how Eden is a monster, making her staying away from her family, but Catherine defends her. Catherine defends her, saying that even when she was kind of sick of her, she still holds on to the old memories that they have together. Eden is kind of softened by her words, but quickly recovers when she hears her that even when she can spend the time with her family, she still can attend to her other job. She is outraged by this because some time ago she started to suspect that Catherine was working on something else and she doesn't want that. She's so toxic and bad friend that she just wants her to work for her for life. How dares she to have dreams and expectations?
The ingratitude!
They follow Catherine, finding out that her show was in a very small place compared to the big theater where Eden sings. That's when Eden shows her worst face that if she will be on the TV, she will be completely cancelled for the way she talks at her back. Literally saying the worst of the worst things, like
she wouldn't get anything, everything that she will get will be the small scenario, and that nobody in the universe will come to see her.
but then the words are stuck on her throat as a lot of kids appear from the nothing. But they weren't only kids, they were orphans. What made Eden feel even more guilty was the fact that all of those kids admitted her.
And Catherine, being very kind, tells them that Eden's sorry for not coming, but she was very busy with the show and couldn't attend. But that she's still very proud of them and that she wished them Merry Christmas, which is, of course, a lie. She didn't say anything of that. She doesn't even know them.
Eden Starling wishes me a Merry Christmas.
You are a monster. Hearing their presentation, Eden discovers that the orphanage is about to close because they didn't have the funds to stay open. After the second spirit left her, Eden gets back to her room and she isn't very surprised when later she felt someone waking her up again. This time there wasn't someone screaming nor playing an orchestra. This time was just a subtle and calm call. Eden was aware that she was the third spirit, the spirit of Christmas future.
I am so glad for her because I remember to see her and feel so peaceful with her calm and kind voice.
Eden knew she was about to see her future. She definitely felt very nostalgic on the first trip, and during the second, she felt very bad for Catherine and for how she was acting, and she felt guilty. Even when she denied it, she felt bad for punishing her that way when she wasn't doing anything wrong. Now, she wasn't sure about seeing her future as she didn't know what she will find there.
Will I like what I'm going to see? Oh, you might not. But sometimes we need to face things that frighten us. It's how we grow.
This is the kind of person who I choose on.
In the tunnel, Eden wonders why there's so many holes in there, while in the others there were any. The spirit responds her that, unlike the past and the present, the future change according to the choice that we make. The future was unclear and not brightened. However, she will lead Eden to what will be her most close future, what would be more possible to happen. That's how they land in the future. Same place, same date, but years later. And surprisingly, things were very, very different. The loved and successful Eden wasn't there anymore. In exchange, there was just an Eden who lived alone with her cat in a bad-looking place, old and grubby, with rats inside. There were no signals of her old self. And it wasn't only her surroundings that changed because her attitude changed as well. Now she was sad, lunging, and I let myself say depressed. Eden of the present time starts to panic seeing what she will become in. She can't believe what is happening, what she's seeing, and there was no way that that was her until a chance is given to Eden of the future. A leaflet comes out of the nothing. Catherine was in the cover shoot, her old friend Catherine, and it was announced that she would be holding the show of her last fashion collection. Catherine had made it. She became a big fashion designer. That's when both Eden from the past and Eden from the future thinks the same. Catherine could help them. She could save her life. But the reality hit her once again. Once she found her, they hugged each other like it was just the same as always. Catherine even seems somehow happy to see her, but the truth was that Catherine wasn't the same kind of girl that she used to be. She didn't sound like Catherine, she just didn't sound like her. And Eden realized about it. Eden asked why was she working during Christmas? Why isn't she celebrating when that was one of the things that she cared most about before? To which she replies saying that she doesn't celebrate Christmas anymore and that the last time that she did it was when she fired her on a Christmas date for coming late. That is in the Christmas of the present time, when Catherine went to visit the kids at the orphanage and she come back to the theater, but she arrived a little late than at the time where she should have to been there, and that caused Eden to fire her. Eden of the future feels very sorry and shameful about it, but Catherine stops her saying that she actually made her a favor, affirming that Eden was right and she was wrong because, after all, the only way she succeeded as a fashion designer was following the words that she always used to say. In a selfish world, the selfish succeed.
It is a selfish world. And in a selfish world, the selfish succeed.
She tried to be good, but that ended up in nothing. After ending jobless, she had to find a way to survive, and she found a new show, which wasn't too much, but she could do something with it. And with that, she had to stay away from the city for a long time. Finally, when she was able to come back, one of the hardest situations waited for her. The orphanage wasn't there anymore. It closed for not having the funds to stay open. She never found any one of the kids, not even Tammy, who was the kid she was thinking in adopt. Still so, with a last bit of hope, Eden asked her if she could help her, embarrassed but with no other option, humiliated. But Catherine's response is no. She's done helping people, caring hard, and it doesn't work, so she stopped doing it. Catherine was hard and she changed. Eden of the present can't believe it. She can't believe nor accept this is her future. Bro, just imagine it. That would be one of the worst nightmares a person can have. Please save me from having this kind of dream. She sees her back walking in the street in a future where she will never want to live in. While she begs, she pleads to have another chance. One more chance and she would change it all. Meanwhile, the Christmas future spirit look at her like, what a fucking job I have. And getting tired of the annoying Barbie at her side, she makes a boo and makes her disappear. After all, she just needed her to say, I want to change my life. Her work would be done then. Eden wakes up again, but this time it's morning and she's still in her luxurious bed. Yay! This should mean that she's not poor. You know, she could take it like a bad dream, you know, just like waking up, say something like, oh my god, what a horrible nightmare. But she was so afraid about the future that she saw that she didn't think twice before deciding, I'll change my life. Wise decision, Eden. Wise decision. The end is simple. It's a Christmas morning and it would be the day when Catherine arrives late and she fires her for that, but she won't make the same mistake twice. So instead, she appears acting like she's angry and giving all of them a mini heart attack. Ah, you got afraid, didn't you? But then her attitude surprises all of them as she begins to give them Christmas presents. Kinda questionable gift, but what matters is the intention. That's what we learned. What did she give him? She also makes Catherine knows that her gifts will be given later and that by now she wishes to see the kids' presentation. Catherine hurries in trying to explain, but then realizes that Eden has been evangelized and now she's Mother Teresa or something like that. Some good God who helps people. They finally met the children, and Eden surprised them deciding to buy the place. So the orphan is in a safe moment right now. By the way, I don't know if the kids knew this was happening with the place. She just confessed it there, and those are things you used to hide to the kids to don't worry them. But anyways, who am I to complain? She has the bag, not me.
Thank you for giving me back my friend.
Aww. Eden's present for Christmas arrives, and it was a visit to Catherine's family home for dinner. As well, she decides that she's a couple now and brings Freddie to be the one who will drive them there. Now we know why he was so excited. But also, he has the bravery to ask her out. Well, it's basically her who does it.
Freddie, are you asking me on a date?
We love a brave queen. The sleds get stuck in the snow, but let's remember it's a Barbie movie after all, and a little bit of magic can never be left.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Merry Christmas. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
I would have dropped something at her. According to me, this was like a dark movie coming from Barbie. That's the way that I felt when I was a kid. I feel like the novel from where this movie was adapted must be really dark and so much deep than what this movie is, because I can feel all these scenarios in a more deep way and tragic way. For example, Aunt Marie treatment with Eden. As this is a movie for kids, they wouldn't show her as something else than a strict person, but I can see how this could be so much cruel. She already made me fear a little bit when I was a kid, but I can feel like she will be so much more cruel, and the story will be more tragic if they wouldn't be an animated film. The moment in the orphanage is actually very sad and tragic, especially for the way they put Tammy in the garage. It was very hard to see. And when Eden sees herself in the future, living in a dirty place, poorly, with a worn and very old dress, and even asking for help from Catherine, it sounds so much heavy for me now. The part where she sees herself walking away with this tragic and somehow terrifying effect sound when she yells, "This can be my future, this can be my future." That was definitely the most non-kids movie part. She was literally living poorly and asking for help, yet not getting in for the mistakes that she made into her life. It's actually something very real, and it makes me see how good they adapted this. Also, I think that the change in Eden could be mistaken. Did she really change, or she did it just for the sake of not having that future? About this, I don't think so. I don't think she did it solely for that. Eden was brainwashed. She was manipulated by an adult to believe certain things like this. She doesn't have any other options. Her parents are never seen and she doesn't mention it. She just says that her aunt raised her. What could she do? Just obey her. I think that she was forced to change, but there was just this tiny part inside of her that was still the same and that never changed. She just had to come out again. She shows it at the beginning when she cares more for Catherine than for the others because that was her best friend. And she holds on to it. She didn't want to let her go, and when she goes the first stream, she remembers all of that and how good their times together were. On the second trip, she emphasized the double. She was really worried about them and what will happen to them. She felt identified with the situation because even when it is not clearly said, she lived something similar to it. So no, I don't think it didn't change just for her own self. I think that she has always been a good person, but she lost herself a lot of time. And sometimes we just need these little shakes to come back to who we really are. Think about what we want and what we don't. Is it all aligned? Are we happy with it? Are we the persons that we wanted to be? Those are the kind of questions that I think we have to ask ourselves. Personally, for me, I feel like that's the message of the movie. Don't forget your inner child. Don't forget the little things that makes you happy, and make sure they stay with you. People can judge without knowing the whole truth, and people can change as well, but it is never too late to redeem yourself and start again. Start from zero. Everyone, this was Barbie in a Christmas Carol. Thank you so much for having watched this video. If you liked, you could go and check my channel once in a while and watch some of the other videos that I did. I do vlogs as well, and they're not touring, so you could pass by them. Hope you have a very good Christmas and see you. As there are changes that she formed during her life, the change of self the change of selfishness.